People say ignorance is bliss. What you don't know won't hurt you. Stay away from the news. Don't find out what's going on in the world because it will affect you. Just stay numb, be in your bliss. Stay inspired by staying out of it. In reality though, ignorance is actually pain. Ignorance is suffering. It is a lack of power. Ignorance is not knowing or being who you really are. The greatest mistake anyone can make is not using this opportunity of being here on earth for the short time that we are to find out who we really are. Ignorance is bliss is actually one of those phrases accepted as truth that keeps us further from ourselves and afraid of finding out more, away from the beauties through knowledge of the self, right? It just keeps us away. When I am drawing or painting, I feel most connected to myself because it allows me to exist in a state of being without thinking. I gain knowledge about myself when I figure out the things I am most interested in. Drawing and painting is basically my vessel through which I can do my own research. This looks differently for everyone, but for me, it's my creative outlets that bring me to bliss. It allows me to exist in a state of being without thinking. Gaining knowledge about yourself is not found through gaining more knowledge of the outside world. You can examine a blade of grass until the day that you die, watching the striations, the texture, the way it changes over the years, how it decomposes, how light reflects off of it, comparing it to the other blades of grass around it. But that would be crazy, right? That would be ridiculous because it's so simple. It's a creation, it's a thing. It does not have much significance to the rest of the world, right? Examining this blade of grass would never produce bliss. It does not bring us knowledge of who we are. So why do it at all? This seems like common sense, and it is, but so many people, so many of us examine the blade of grass for our whole lives without even realizing it. Math and science and really anything that is matter of fact in the way of knowledge seeking, needing the PhD, the master's degree is the same like insignificant temporary dead end that distances you from yourself. Always looking at other people in the outside world to solve our problems or validate us, or looking to the math to solve our problems or analytically tell us that we're growing or we're doing our best or whatever it might be. Take going to art school, for example. Even though it's a bachelor in the arts, it's still math. It's still doing math the whole time. They teach you about various theories and fundamentals that are like formulas to creating the perfect painting or drawing. It teaches you discipline, and it makes you treat your creative time like a job that you must clock into, at least if you ever want your art to be taken seriously. They train you to have certain ways of going about your creative practice. They can teach expressionism, hyperrealism, techniques to make you flow more with less seriousness, but at the end of the day, it's all the same. I'm not saying that art school is a complete waste of time, because that would be too absolute. Just dedicating your whole self to it, expecting some type of reward at the end of it more than just the piece of paper degree, like you suddenly will have a career or something if you go to enough school because you'll be skilled enough to have it. That doesn't exist. And only seeing yourself worthy of success if you go through with it and finish the whole thing, that is the waste of time. People basically live their whole lives operating as if they are a computer, programmed to make money, to become more famous, maximize gain, minimize loss. If you go to any college campus, the young people are choosing majors and the path of life that is a road to destruction because they're basing it solely off what major will make them the most money, keeping them completely ignorant to who they actually are and what they're most interested in the process. They're fixated on technology, fame, glamour, infamy, stuff, riches, wealth. It's all the same, and it is as insignificant and temporary as a blade of grass. And where are you in this situation? Where are you in this equation? Giving the mind all of the power, bowing down to the ways in which it operates, believing we are our thoughts. It's all an infection of the mind virus. The mind virus, so to speak. We are the thinkers, and we have power over our brain, our minds. We are not victims of our brain's chemistry. We are in control, and we decide what we will listen to, or we can just witness our thoughts happen and just be like, that isn't me. That was just simply a program that through TV, through whatever, that told me to think that. And that isn't actually how I feel or what I know. That's just what I'm thinking, and you can witness your thoughts instead of feeling so attached to them and so infected by them. And if you want success in the art world, for example, as I once thought that I needed the art world to accept me, you can attend art gallery openings every single weekend, search for the most important people in the room, mingle with them, become friends with them even, learn about how they got to where they are, mimic their moves, brown nose until the end of time. I've done that before for a long period of my life, and it didn't work. I left the situation in the same position career-wise as I had started. I mean, like, I got a few shows out of it, but like, it didn't feel very rewarding, or like I was really making much of a stride. Yeah, it just basically didn't work. I come from a relatively impoverished household, and my way of coping with that, the lack of money growing up in my upbringing, was through pride. I actually found poverty morally superior to being rich. So for a lot of my life, I found rich people actually repulsive because they had like hurt me one too many times or whatever excuse I could give myself. I found their snootiness absolutely appalling. And basically, I tried to keep myself as far away from any rich person as I possibly could, because I was just like, they disgust me. Like, I cannot even be in the same room as these people. They're so snooty, they're so disrespectful. They need to touch some grass, like they need to get outside and realize what's important. And I just like hated them all, basically. Until when I decided I wanted to make art my life's work. Though I needed to attend gallery openings, and I needed to make connections with people in high places, with gallery owners, with successful artists, with buyers, and all of these people have a lot of money. They're very rich. And with this old way of thinking I had of hating the rich people, hating every rich person possible, I found the whole culture of the art community to be absolutely exhausting. I was like, these people are so making me so uncomfortable. I feel like I'm like in a room of a bunch of people that know that I hate them, and I'm just like so judgmental, and like I was just like so uncomfortable the whole time in my own skin. And so all of a sudden I found myself needing to kiss up to the very people that I spent my entire life despising, and this felt relatively impossible unless I buckled down, confronted my belief about rich people, about myself, having grown up poor, and confronting all those things and my moral high ground to my core that I believed was real through my lack of excess and their blatant flaunt of their excess. But rather than putting in any kind of effort to figure that out or understand where these beliefs were coming from and getting rid of them and just like completely stopping that belief system, I decided to 180 and decided they were actually better than me, and I felt guilty for all the days I spent hating them. The hate that I had for them actually transferred onto myself. Like, I was just hating myself, hating my social status, hating my house, hating all my clothes, hating everything about my lack of money in comparison to them. I began brown-nosing them, unfortunately, which felt so unnatural and beside myself, but I was trying to make up for lost time, you know, and like, I don't know, just trying to like be more nice to rich people and give them what I felt that they wanted or whatever. Until one day I completely just snapped, because I had been doing this for a while. It didn't make me feel like myself, and whenever I'm like disconnected with myself, I have like a snapping, like I just like snap back into place because I'm like, this feels so wrong, and it just like makes me feel spiritually disgusting. So then I like have a panic attack or something one day, and then just like snap back into reality. But one day I snapped because this gallery owner was flaunting his power a bit too much. Like, he was going overboard, and I went right back into my old way of thinking. I hated them all again. I was like, what the f was I doing for all of that time? Trying to be someone I'm not. I'm gonna go back to hating them all. Which obviously was not the best. My takeaway was that the art world isn't for me, and I need to find another way, basically. But when I did take that step back, I basically decided to use that time that I had been, like, I had a lot of extra time all of a sudden because I had been, like, hustling and going to a lot of galleries in Los Angeles and, like, driving to various areas and going to, like, a bunch per night and, like, basically gallery hopping. So when I had all this extra time, I basically used that to find out more about myself, what I felt inspired by creatively. I thought that I knew that already, but I was wrong, and I'm still figuring that out, honestly. Like, I'm actually trying some new things this week. Like, I'm doing a different style of painting, and I'm actually very excited about it. But okay, back to the point. I thought that I knew what I wanted to paint for the rest of my life. Like, I really thought that I knew, but I was actually just distracted and confused by the hustle of trying to promote my work, prove myself to this audience that honestly couldn't care less about what I was making. I just seemed like a naive artist that has a 9-to-5 that no one cares about, and trying to make my work as perfect as possible so no one could say that I didn't know what I was doing or I didn't have skill. Again, that pride. I basically just made a drastic change with the newfound time that I had on accident. Like, it's not like I sat down and was like, I need to make a change, but it was just like through exploring various ways of expressing myself through whatever medium, including making these videos. This is a huge reason that I've come so far, like, mentally, is making YouTube videos. So I do recommend, if this is something that you want to do, just do it. Just start. You'll figure out what you want to do with the videos as you go along. I'm finding that I get more and more ideas the more I film and the more I actually make one. So it's just about, like, getting your feet wet, basically. Suddenly I felt completely free from needing any validation from any of these people, and in a healthy way. Not because I hate them and I want to stay away from them, but now because I just have better things going on. I don't need anyone, I don't need the galleries, I don't need institutional acceptance, and really no one does. No artist really needs any of that. And in fact, it kind of goes against the nature of being an artist by trying to gain acceptance of the institution. Like, artists aren't supposed to, like, contradict the system. My takeaway from this whole experience is that I don't believe anything anymore. Like, for example, I don't believe rich people are inherently evil, but I also don't believe that they're all inherently good. I don't believe poor people are morally superior or inferior either. I believe nothing about the rich or the poor. I just believe nothing. And there is no belief system within me about anything beyond just social status. I know and I observe and I witness, but I never believe. I never make what I witness or what I see or how I think about things a belief system. No religion, no atheism, no absolutes except love. It is always beliefs that keep me from myself. Beliefs box you in. They make you a walking contradiction. There's always another side to the story, a nuance, a contradiction, and this is what keeps us from truly being ourselves. We find ourselves defending something to uphold these beliefs that we don't even necessarily feel, or it doesn't feel true to who we are, but we, like, go and defend this thing that falls into the category of this belief that we are so intensely clinging on to. I hated people with money, right? But I wanted money enough to go to the gallery openings every weekend. I was chasing money, right? By going to these galleries and attending them every single weekend, day in and day out. and gallery hopping on a Saturday night just to like make the most connections I possibly can. If I wasn't driven by money, then what was I driven by? If I was looking for inspiration, I wouldn't have to go to every single gallery or like hustle in the way that I was. So basically I wanted the very thing I was making people out to be evil for having, so it was like a walking contradiction. So that's what I'm saying beliefs are. Like anytime you hold a belief, it's going to contradict itself by another way that you actually feel, but you're trying to defend something you don't even feel just so you can uphold the belief that you really want to uphold, because it makes it you feel like that's who I am, you know, that's who I am. I grew up poor, and that's me, that's who I am, and I don't want to lose who I am, so I'm going to hate rich people until the end of time. I can live in a state of always getting worked up over things that aren't even me, or I can recognize my separation from the outside world and all that is within it and be free to do whatever I need to do, enjoying my own time, being me, just having a ball, being me. Waking up, though, is challenging. It requires a lot of effort to stand on your own 2 feet, to shed all of the belief systems and own your inner power. That requires a lot of work, and it requires being yourself consistently, like on a very consistent basis. You have to do the things that make you feel like you and stand on your own 2 feet, and that's hard. Moment to moment, we go into autopilot, and sometimes it takes us reminders to get us back into who we are. The world around us operates in a way that makes it easy for us to forget who we really are. So if the habit is broken, we can fall all the way back down the rabbit hole of societal norms, customs, beliefs that make us feel less than good enough. But the consistency, though, is how we do the work. It's how we do our research. It's researching ways we can feel centered in our highest power and our creative gifts. In the beginning of the realization of the self, I found it really blew my mind, and getting rid of all these belief systems gave me anxiety to a point where it was like I was kind of having panic attacks because I was so attached to them. And shedding them made me very shell-shocked. I would go outside into the world, like at a restaurant, and I would just observe, and I'd be like, whoa, because I couldn't detach myself from the people around me. I needed them to act a certain way, or else I felt unsettled, because I didn't understand that they were separate from me. Just because they're feeling or doing something doesn't mean I have to do or feel that way. And it took a lot for me to like separate that is not me, that is them, that is their energy, and that is not mine. But yeah, it starts to blow your mind, especially when you've lived your whole life owning these types of beliefs as if they're absolute truths. I don't believe anything now, I just know. I perceive, and I am able to observe and witness and notice, and this is why I continue to watch the news, I watch movies, I read books, I do not cut myself off from the rest of the world and the way things work and how it all comes together and operates. I still have a job, I still contribute to the society. It doesn't mean you have to like completely excommunicate yourself. However, I do recognize that none of the things I observe are me, and I do not take it in, and I just witness it, and I recognize my separation from it. To escape literally anything, any situation, or another person, to escape anything, go within. It is all about recognizing and knowing the self and having discernment. Recognition of the roadblocks and the blockages to people finding out and being who they are, instead of just being a walking computer program, a character in a movie, or playing a role. Recognizing all of these things allows you to go beyond the taboos of religion, of education, of government, of psychology, of family, of culture. It just allows you to transcend all of those trances, states of just ignorance, and it allows you to know yourself when you go beyond these taboos. Basically, just do your work Invest in your knowledge. Immerse yourself in the knowledge that brings you closer to yourself, but never make it a belief system. Simply use it to sharpen your awareness of how the world operates, of how you operate in response, your power that you hold innately at the root of who you are, how to best and most quickly get back into your state of bliss, whatever that looks like. A state of being and not thinking, because from there you're in your power. From there anything is possible. When you know who you are and all of the wisdom you hold within you, you are able to achieve whatever you want and fulfill your divine destiny. When I work for you, I am also working for me. I want you guys to know this, because through this YouTube channel, I am able to give, and I appreciate that in and of itself. The opportunity to give is why I do this. As spiritual beings, we love to give. We love to empower, we love to acknowledge, and we love to appreciate others. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate the work you've done to understand what I mean, to even hear the words that I'm saying without it being like completely ridiculous and confusing. That's a difficult thing to do. It really is, to stand in your own power and know who you are. It's challenging, and I commend you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys. Bye.